need a white woman because I've just about had it with you black guys.
The year 2000 started a new millennium for mankind, but something significant also happened that year. Girlfriends aired for the very first time. With its mix of funny moments and well-written emotional scenes, the show became a true fan favorite and one that was easy to binge. For every good show, there is a better backstory, and here are 20 weird facts about Girlfriends that might blow your mind. Number 20. The different cast pilot. In television history, many shows changed before reaching the audience, and Girlfriends is a prime example. Before the version that fans came to know and love in the year 2000, an earlier pilot was filmed. In that pilot, the two main characters were completely different actresses. Leslie Silva was chosen to play Tony Childs, while Christina Cox was cast as Lynn Searcy. That first attempt never aired, though it was not completely cast aside. Small clips from the pilot appeared in commercials promoting UPN's lineup for the 2000 to 2001 season. Most viewers at the time had no idea they were seeing pieces of a version that would never be aired. By the time Girlfriends officially premiered, the network had already made some major changes and decided to use different actresses for reasons best known to them. Jill Marie Jones stepped in as Tony, while Persia White replaced Christina Cox as Lynn, shaping the show into the one we all came to love. The unaired pilot has never been shown in full, leaving fans curious about what it looked like. In many ways, those changes may have been the reason the series became so successful. Since the original idea was never followed through, we may never truly know. Number 19. The running gag 1. Amusing aspect of Girlfriends is the age range of the main women. On the show, Maya, played by Golden Brooks, is the youngest of the group. Tony, played by Jill Marie Jones, is the oldest of the group. The show even made a joke that Tony had to repeat a grade in school when she was little. This gave the other characters a reason to tease her sometimes. Fans found it very funny, and it helped make the friendships feel real because they joked and laughed together. In real life, the ages of the actresses differed significantly from those portrayed in the show. Jill Marie Jones, who played Tony, was actually the youngest of the four main women. She was born on January 4, 1975. Next in age was Tracee Ellis Ross, who played Joan Clayton, born on October 29, 1972. Persia White, who played Lynn Searcy, was born on October 25, 1972. The oldest of the group was Golden Brooks, who played Maya, born on December 1, 1970. This made the joke on the show even more interesting. On screen, the audience sees Maya as the baby of the group and Tony as the oldest. In real life, it is completely the opposite. Jill Marie Jones, who plays the oldest on TV, is really the youngest. Golden Brooks, who plays the youngest on TV, is actually the oldest. Number 18. Special names. One of the lesser-known but significant details about Girlfriends lies in the names of its main characters. The creator, Mara Brock Akil, did not pick them by chance. Each name was carefully chosen to pay tribute to individuals who had influenced her life or made a profound impact on Black culture. Joan Clayton, played by Tracee Ellis Ross, was the only character whose name came directly from Akil's personal world. It was inspired by her mother, who she described as her biggest supporter and guiding light. Joan was written as strong, ambitious, and nurturing, qualities Akil had seen in her own mother. The other three women's names were chosen as tributes to literary and cultural icons. Tony Childs was named after the Nobel Prize-winning author Toni Morrison, whose novels spoke boldly about identity, heritage, and the struggles of Black women. Maya Wilkes carried the name of the poet Maya Angelou, whose voice and wisdom inspired countless people worldwide. Lynn Searcy was chosen as a nod to E. Lynn Harris, a groundbreaking author whose books gave voice to experiences that had often been overlooked in mainstream storytelling. By naming her characters after these influential figures, Akil subtly added a deeper layer of meaning to the show. It reminded audiences that these women were not just fictional friends navigating love and life, but also representations of a wider cultural history. For many fans, this detail makes the series even more special. Number 17. The iconic theme song. When people think about Girlfriends, they usually remember the characters first. Joan, Maya, Tony, and Lynn felt like friends you could relate to. The show had many humorous moments, but it also featured serious scenes that had a profound impact. One aspect that helped make the show work, even if people didn't notice it, was the music. The music was made to fit each scene. When something light and fun happened, the music matched it. When the story got serious, the music got softer. The theme song played before each episode, and it became something fans remembered. It set the mood for the show and let people know it was time to watch. Kamara Kambon and Kurt Farquhar created the music. Not many people know their names, but they were very important to the show. Kurt Farquhar wrote music for more prime-time shows than any other African-American composer, which shows how much of an influence he had. Even if viewers didn't think about it, the music helped make the show feel authentic. It gave life to the scenes and added emotion. Fans still remember the theme song years after the show ended. The characters and their stories were strong, but the music gave the show a heart. Number 16, Girlfriends Found a New Home, on Netflix. In 2020, Girlfriends was given new life when it arrived on Netflix. It was part of the streaming platform's Strong Black Lead campaign, which focused on bringing classic black-led shows back to a wide audience. Alongside Girlfriends, titles such as Moesha, Sister, The Parkers, Half and Half, and One on One were also added. For fans who watched the series during its original run on UPN and later on the CW, this moment felt like a homecoming. The show ended without a true finale in 2018, leaving many storylines unresolved. Its return on a major streaming service allowed both longtime viewers and a new generation to revisit the stories of Joan, Tony, Maya, and Lynn. The inclusion of Girlfriends on Netflix carried a more profound meaning beyond nostalgia. UPN had once been one of the few networks to focus on black characters and stories. When the network folded, many of its shows disappeared from mainstream access. Bringing Girlfriends back not only honored its cultural value, but also ensured that the groundbreaking portrayal of four black women navigating life and friendship was available to a wider audience worldwide. The release marked the 20th anniversary of the show's debut in the year 2000. Cast members even reunited virtually that same year to celebrate their legacy. Number 15. The set location Girlfriends was filmed in Los Angeles. Most of the show was shot at Paramount Studios on Melrose Avenue. The crew built sets to look like the homes, offices, and hangout spots of the main characters. Joan's house, the law firm, and other spaces were all created inside the studio. This allowed the crew to control the lighting, the cameras, and the overall look of every scene. Not every scene was filmed on a set. Some parts of the show used real houses in Los Angeles. Joan's house appeared at 679 Abor Street in Pasadena. Tony's house was filmed at 5449 Rosewood Avenue in Los Angeles. Maya and Lynn's apartments were located at 3836 Montclair Street. William's house was filmed at 12716 Darla Avenue. Using real homes helped make the show feel more natural. Fans noticed the difference between studio sets and real locations. Many liked the outdoor scenes the most. Joan's wedding in Season 3 and the big party in Season 6 were often mentioned as favorites. People said these moments felt more like a movie than a typical sitcom. The detailed combination of studio sets, real locations, and a good filming style made the cinematography of the show appear flawless. Many fans said that it did not feel like other shows of the time. The mix of real houses and designed studio spaces made the show appear more real, and this allowed the writers and directors to show each scene exactly as they wanted. This mix helped the show stand out and stay memorable to fans. Number 14. The abrupt end. In television, endings are usually moments of closure, celebration, and goodbye. That was not the case for Girlfriends. The series ended in February 2008, but neither the cast nor the fans knew it was the last episode. The final episode, called Stand and Deliver, aired during the writers' strike. At the time, the team still believed more episodes were coming. In fact, 13 more episodes had already been planned. Tracy Ellis Ross, who played Joan, directed that episode herself. She later said it felt strange because she did not know it would be the series' last. She called the moment painful since there was no chance for proper closure. The cast never had a proper goodbye. The show simply disappeared from television without warning. After the writers' strike ended, the CW announced the show was canceled. The network said filming a final wrap-up episode would cost too much. The plans were also dropped because the cast refused to work for half of their usual pay. Many viewers disliked the ending, especially fans who had been following the characters for years. They were left with no closure. Major storylines and character developments were canceled. The show ended without answering the questions fans had been waiting for. The abrupt ending of Girlfriends became one of the most notable and unusual events in the series' history. Many fans still discuss what might have happened if the writers had been able to complete the show properly. It left a lasting impression on the audience and remains a topic of discussion for years to come. Number 13. Behind the Scene. Hack. Another unusual fact about Girlfriends is that the show was often filmed out of order. Most fans assume that each episode was recorded in the same order as they see it on television, but that is not the case. To save time and money, the production sometimes filmed scenes weeks apart and then put them together later. For example, a living room scene from one episode could be filmed on a Monday, while a kitchen scene from a different episode might be filmed the same day. Later, the editors pieced everything together. To viewers, it looked smooth and natural. For the actors, it was sometimes confusing. They had to act as if their character felt a certain way in a moment that had not yet been filmed. Tracee Ellis Ross said in an interview that filming this way taught her to always keep track of Joan's feelings. Joan's storylines were often deep and complicated. Persia White also explained that playing Lynn was tricky, as she sometimes had to transition from a light, humorous scene to a serious, emotional one without warning. Most viewers never noticed this unusual filming process, but it played a crucial role in how the show was produced. It also shows why editing was so crucial in Girlfriends. The editors had to make every scene fit together perfectly, even when the actors filmed them on different days. This small detail may seem minor, but it demonstrates the care and effort that went into making Girlfriends look smooth, natural, and effortless to watch. Number 12. The earthquake that made the final cut. Another unusual fact about Girlfriends is that the show once used a real earthquake in Los Angeles as part of a storyline. In the early 2000s, the city experienced small quakes. They did not cause major damage, but people could feel them. The writers decided to include the event in the show. In Season 2, there is an episode where the characters confront the fear of earthquakes and how quickly life can change. Many fans thought the story was completely fictional. What they did not know was that it was inspired by a real quake that shook Los Angeles while the cast was filming. Some crew members reported that they could feel the studio lights shaking above them during rehearsals. The event left an impression on the actors and the production team. Turning this real fear into an episode gave the show a more realistic feel. For a comedy series, this was unusual. Most sitcoms avoided depicting real events that had recently occurred. This behind-the-scenes fact remains one of the strangest details about Girlfriends. The audience laughed at the jokes, but the story came from a real moment of danger during production. Few viewers were aware that much of the script was based on actual events. Number 11. The cast wore braces on screen. In the early seasons of Girlfriends, something unusual was happening that many viewers initially overlooked. Several of the main cast members were wearing braces on their teeth while filming. This was not part of the story and was never explained on screen. It was simply real life appearing in the show. Tracee Ellis Ross, who played Joan, Golden Brooks, who played Maya, and Persia White, who played Lynn, all had braces during those years. They used clear braces, which were meant to be less noticeable, but fans later admitted they could sometimes see the change in their smiles. The small brackets could catch the light on camera, and once viewers noticed, it became easier to spot. The producers did not plan this. The actresses simply needed dental work at the time. Instead of delaying filming or trying to hide the braces completely, the show continued as normal. This added a small, human detail to the series. Even though the show was a stylish primetime comedy, it still showed actors going through everyday life, wearing braces. Years later, during a reunion, Jill Marie Jones, who played Tony, joked about how easy it was to notice once fans pointed it out. She admitted that you could tell something was different when her co-stars smiled. Fans who re-watched the show after learning this fact said it altered their perception of certain episodes. Number 10. Jones Season 1. Outfits came from Tracee Ellis Ross's own closet. When Girlfriends started filming its first season, the show did not have a lot of money for clothes. As a result, the costume team had to get creative. They decided to borrow many of Joan Clayton's outfits from Tracee Ellis Ross's own wardrobe. In interviews, Tracee explained that some of the early season looks came directly from her personal wardrobe because the show could not afford to buy everything new. Working with a small budget often forces TV shows to be creative and innovative. In this case, using Tracee's clothes actually helped make Joan feel more real. Her outfits not only looked stylish but also seemed like something a real person would wear in everyday life. Fans may have thought it was just good costume design, but it was also a personal touch from the actress herself. This small choice helped the character feel believable and connected to viewers. The borrowed clothes gave Joan a casual and natural style that worked perfectly on screen. It demonstrated that even with limitations, the team could make informed decisions that enhanced the show. The method also taught the production how small solutions can have a significant effect. Problems at the beginning, such as a small budget, often pushed the team to make the best out of what they had. This approach to Joan's wardrobe helped define her character and contributed to the overall look of Girlfriends. The show became famous not only for its humor and stories, but also for the stylish outfits the characters wore. Even now, fans remember Joan's fashion sense as part of what made the show so fun to watch. What started as a budget solution evolved into a part of the character's personality on screen, demonstrating that creativity can emerge from limits as much as from freedom. Number 9. Maya's famous catchphrase was not in the script. One of the most memorable things about Girlfriends was Maya's sharp tongue. She often had lines that fans repeated long after episodes aired. What many people do not know is that one of her catchphrases, "Oh hell no," was not originally written into the script. Golden Brooks, who played Maya, added it herself during filming. Writers and producers quickly noticed how natural it sounded coming from her. It fit Maya's character so well that they decided to keep it in. Over time, it became a regular part of the show. Anytime Maya faced something shocking, unfair, or just plain annoying, the phrase came out. Viewers started waiting for it, laughing and repeating it at home. This small moment shows how actors often shape their characters in ways that go beyond the script. Golden Brooks gave Maya her own personality and attitude, which made the character stand out. It also showed how much freedom the show gave its actors to bring personal touches. Catchphrases have always been a big part of television history, from comedies in the 1970s to shows in the 2000s. In Girlfriends, Maya's "Oh hell no" joined that tradition. It gave the series a sense of realness, like something a friend might say in everyday life. A simple phrase, created in the moment, became one of the most loved parts of the show. It serves as a reminder that sometimes the most lasting parts of a series are not carefully planned, but rather emerge from an actor's instinct. Number 8. UPN's breakout hit against heavy competition. When Girlfriends first aired in the fall of 2000, it faced strong competition. The show was placed on Monday nights at 9 o'clock, directly against Girls Club, a new drama from David E. Kelley on Fox. That series arrived with heavy promotion and high expectations, yet it collapsed almost instantly. After only 2 episodes, Girls Club was pulled from the schedule, while Girlfriends held its ground and slowly rose in viewership. This victory meant more than just ratings. It marked a breakthrough for the creator, Mara Brock Akil. At only 32 years of age, she became one of the youngest women ever to create and run a primetime television series. At the time, very few black women had been given that kind of authority in television. Girlfriends soon became UPN's second most watched comedy, behind One-on-One, and critics began to call it the black version of Sex and the City. For Akil, the success was not simply about numbers. It challenged old Hollywood ideas about who could lead a hit show. She was a young black woman leading a series that was thriving while more expensive projects from veteran producers were falling away. The rise of Girlfriends showed what could happen when new voices are given a chance to be heard. Number 7. Joan's house was reused. In other shows, The home that fans remember as Joan Clayton's house on Girlfriends was not built only for the show. The same set was used later in other productions. For example, parts of Joan's living room and kitchen were reused in the series Girlfriend's Guide to Divorce, and even appeared in different episodes of The Game, the spin-off, connected to Girlfriends. Reusing sets is a common practice in television, but many viewers often fail to notice it. The furniture might be changed, the walls repainted, or the decorations replaced, yet the layout remains the same. Careful fans have pointed out that the staircase and living room in Joan's house can be recognized in these other shows. This fact surprises many because Joan's house felt like such a personal and unique space in the series. It was where some of the most emotional and funny moments happened. Seeing the same design in another show feels strange, almost like stepping into a parallel world where the characters have switched places. Creating a show is also akin to creating a work of art. Sets are expensive to build, so studios often recycle them instead of starting from scratch. For Girlfriends, that meant Joan's house lived on long after the series ended, though in ways many fans did not expect. Number 6. Joan and Tony's friendship ended off screen too. On Girlfriends, the friendship between Joan Clayton and Tony Childs was very important. They laughed together, argued, and shared many emotional moments. However, after season 6, Jill Marie Jones, who played Tony, decided to leave the show. The producers did not hire a new actress to play the role of Tony. Instead, the story explained that Tony moved away, and her friendship with Joan ended on screen. Fans were unaware that Tracy Ellis Ross and Jill Marie Jones also had a falling out in real life. After Jill left the series, the two actresses stopped talking to each other. For years, Tracy only said that she missed working with Jill. Jill later said she did not regret leaving the show, but she and Tracy were no longer close. This situation was really unusual. Most television friendships do not reflect real-life tensions between the actors. In this case, the personal break between the actresses mirrored the story on screen. It blurred the line between fiction and reality in a way that still captivates fans today. Number 5. The various surprising cameos. One interesting aspect of Girlfriends is the numerous guest stars who appeared on the show. Although the show primarily focused on Joan, Maya, Tony, and Lynn, occasionally other actors joined in. People like Terrence Howard, Mickey Pfeiffer, and Flex Alexander showed up in different episodes. They often played characters who were friends, co-workers, or love interests. These guest stars were not just there for fun. They helped make the story feel more substantial and authentic. The main cast said that having guest stars made filming different. The set became more exciting, and the actors had to work harder to keep up with the pace. Sometimes new ideas came from the guest stars themselves. They brought energy and made the scenes feel lively. The audience also liked seeing familiar faces. Fans of the guest stars often watched Girlfriends just to see them. This helped the show reach new people who might not have watched it otherwise. Even with guest stars, the focus stayed on the 4 main women. The writers made sure the guest roles fit naturally. They were not distractions, but added to the story. For example, a guest star might play a character who helped one of the main women learn something important about friendship or love. These appearances were short, but important. This demonstrates how Girlfriends can be creative while keeping the story engaging. Guest stars gave the show variety. They helped keep episodes fresh so viewers never felt bored. It also demonstrated how the writers and cast collaborated to balance the main story with new faces. Many fans remember these guest stars and say their appearances made the show even more fun to watch. Number 4. The cast never got a proper finale. Girlfriends ran for 8 seasons, a remarkably long time for any sitcom. It was one of the first shows to portray the lives and friendships of Black women in a genuinely authentic way. Despite its success, the series never got a true ending. In 2008, a writers' strike in Hollywood stopped many productions, and Girlfriends was one of them. The timing was hard for everyone. The cast and writers had planned a final storyline. Fans hoped to see weddings, reconciliations, and answers to storylines that had built up over the years. The writers wanted to give the characters proper goodbyes after nearly 10 years on air. Instead, the strike halted production immediately. The network, concerned about the show's production costs, decided not to continue. Ratings had declined slightly in later seasons, and executives chose to focus on new programs rather than invest in completing the series. The strike, high expenses, and changing priorities at the network ultimately led to the show's cancellation. Many of the storylines were left unfinished. The audience never got to see the endings they wanted. For loyal fans, this was frustrating. It was also equally hard on the cast. Tracee Ellis Ross said she cried when she learned the show would not get a proper ending. Jill Marie Jones also said she was sad the series did not have a chance for a proper goodbye. It is rare for a show that lasted 8 seasons to end suddenly with no closure. This abrupt ending is one of the most unusual aspects of Girlfriend's history. Even today, fans continue to discuss what might have been. They imagine the weddings, reconciliations, and happy moments that never made it to television. Number 3. Girlfriends was linked to Moesha and the Parkers. Girlfriends might have looked like a completely new show when it began in 2000, but it was actually connected to other popular black sitcoms of the late 1990s. The show shared the same creative world as Moesha and the Parkers. All these series were produced by the same company and aired on the same network, UPN. As a result, characters and storylines were occasionally hinted at across the shows. For example, Countess Vaughn from the Parkers once mentioned the same college that Lynn Searcy attended in Girlfriends. Although it was never developed into a full crossover, the writers enjoyed incorporating subtle details that tied the shows together. This connection gave Girlfriends a built-in audience when it launched. Fans who already loved Moesha and the Parkers were curious about the new sitcom, which helped the series find its footing quickly. It is unusual for sitcoms that look so different to exist in the same television world without directly crossing paths. Yet this link is a hidden fact in the history of Girlfriends. Many viewers at the time never realized the shows were designed to share a universe. Number 2. The crossover. Another curious fact about Girlfriends is that it was the first UPN comedy to have a crossover with another UPN show. In 2002, an episode of Girlfriends connected directly with Half and Half, another sitcom produced by the same producer, Mara Brock Akil. This was not just a small joke or cameo. The crossover included a full storyline that went across both shows. The plot featured characters from Girlfriends, such as Joan Clayton and her friends, appearing in Half and Half. At the same time, Mona and Dee Dee from Half and Half made appearances on Girlfriends. Crossovers like this were common on bigger networks like NBC or ABC, but UPN was still a young network. This was unusual for them and demonstrated that the network sought to create a shared universe for its comedies, much like how superhero shows would later do so. Many viewers did not initially notice the connection. The episodes aired on different nights, so people who only watched one of the shows could miss the story. Fans who followed both series found it exciting to see the characters exist in the same universe. This crossover also showed how much UPN trusted Girlfriends. By its 3rd season, Joan and her circle were strong enough to help support a new show. That was rare for the network. It proved that Girlfriends was more than a simple sitcom. It had grown into a show that could anchor an entire block of television and influence other series. Number 1. The Almost Movie. One of the strangest facts about Girlfriends is that it almost became a movie. When the series ended in 2008, the story was cut off without warning. The Writers Guild strike forced the network to shut down production, leaving fans without a definitive ending. Afterward, creator Mara Brock Akil explained in several interviews that she wanted to give the audience a closing chapter through a feature film. The plan was for the movie to answer questions that were left hanging. Viewers never got to see if Joan would finally walk down the aisle after years of heartbreak. They never learned how Maya's marriage struggles would end, or if Lynn's music career would truly take off. Even Tony's future with her daughter Morgan was left open. The movie idea was supposed to bring all these storylines together in one final piece. The strange part is that the studio showed no interest at all. At that time, television shows rarely received film endings unless they were major commercial hits. A good example is Sex and the City, which not only received 1 movie, but 2. Many fans believed Girlfriends deserved the same chance, especially since it had run for 8 seasons and made history by placing black women at the center of primetime comedy. The cast members themselves supported the idea. Tracee Ellis Ross admitted she wanted closure for Joan. Golden Brooks, Jill Marie Jones, and Persia White Each spoke in interviews about how much they wish they could return to finish the story. Fans even created online petitions to push for the film. Still, nothing happened. The show simply came to an end. Looking back, Girlfriends was more than just a funny show. It changed television by giving space to stories that were not often shown. For 8 seasons, people followed Joan, Maya, Lynn, and Tony as they navigated love, financial struggles, family issues, and friendship challenges. The show made people laugh, but it also addressed real problems that many viewers could relate to. It touched on divorce, work troubles, class, and race in ways that were both clear and honest. The ending came too fast and left many fans sad, but the love for the show never stopped. Even now, years later, people continue to watch it on streaming platforms. A younger generation is discovering it for the first time, while older fans are revisiting it. This demonstrates the enduring strength of its message. The cast worked well together, and the writing effectively portrayed both the good and bad aspects of life. The show was not perfect, but it felt real. Ultimately, Girlfriends demonstrated how friends can remain connected even when life becomes challenging. That is why the series has never truly come to an end. It continues each time someone chooses to watch it again. What do you think about these facts? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring content like this. Before you go, kindly watch the other videos on your screen.